The billion-dollar deals that change the world. What separates the ordinary rich from the billionaires who reshape the world? It's not just money. It's the vision to use money at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right way. It's not wealth for the sake of luxury. It's wealth as a weapon. Wealth as a lever that shifts entire nations. Today, we look at two men who did exactly that. Two billionaires who placed billion-dollar bets so bold, so perfectly timed that they didn't just make money. They changed the very structure of their countries. One man gambled $32 billion to connect 1.4 billion people almost overnight. The other wrote a single $5 billion check that steadied the entire American financial system in its darkest hour. This is the story of Mukesh Ambani and Warren Buffett, and how their billion-dollar deals prove that money isn't just power. Money is the ability to rewrite reality itself. Mukesh Ambani, the man who bought India's digital future. In 2016, India faced a digital crisis. Over 1 billion people, but only a fraction could afford the internet. Those who did were paying some of the world's highest prices for some of the world's slowest speeds. India's dream of a digital future seemed impossible. Enter Mukesh Ambani, chairman of Reliance Industries, a man who lives in a 27-story skyscraper in Mumbai called Antilia, worth over $2 billion. Antilia is no ordinary home. It has 3 helipads, a ballroom, a 168-car garage, multiple swimming pools, and requires a staff of more than 600 just to function. It is quite literally the most expensive private residence in the world. But Ambani was not content with personal luxury. He saw the internet as India's next great resource, and he was willing to do what no one else would: build an entire nationwide telecom network from scratch. He invested $32 billion into creating Reliance Jio. No upgrades, no half measures. This was a brand new digital empire, built brick by brick, tower by tower. And then came his masterstroke. He made it free. For 6 months, every call, every text, every gigabyte of data cost nothing. Overnight, tens of millions of Indians who had never touched the internet were suddenly online. The result was chaos. Competitors were crushed. Within just 170 days, Jio signed up over 100 million users, the fastest growth ever seen in the telecom world. By 2020, Jio had 400 million subscribers, a user base larger than the entire population of the United States. And the world noticed. Tech giants who usually dominated others found themselves knocking on Ambani's door. Facebook invested $5.7 billion. Google paid $4.5 billion. In a matter of months, Ambani raised $20 billion by selling a third of Jio platforms. For the first time, Silicon Valley wasn't buying up an empire, it was paying rent to operate in someone else's. But this wasn't just about money. Ambani had turned himself into one of the most powerful men in Asia. His influence extended into politics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi relied on Jio to deliver internet access to rural communities. Politicians leaned on Ambani's empire to connect voters, students, and workers. Suddenly, Ambani wasn't just the richest man in India. He was the gatekeeper of its digital revolution. Reliance Industries already dominated oil refining, retail, and media. But with Jio, Ambani added control over how Indians communicated, learned, shopped, and even paid. His company's stock movements alone could sway the entire Indian market. To understand Ambani's power is to realize that he doesn't just run businesses. He runs much of India's infrastructure. Warren Buffett, the phone call that saved America. Now let's cross the ocean to the United States. If Ambani is the face of empire building in India, Warren Buffett is the quiet king of American capitalism. Buffett lives in Omaha, Nebraska, in the same modest home he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives a Cadillac, eats McDonald's for breakfast, and avoids yachts, jets, and extravagance. Yet behind this simple image lies staggering power. Through Berkshire Hathaway, Buffett controls nearly $1 trillion in assets and a personal net worth of around $135 billion. His greatest test came in 2008. The world was collapsing. Lehman Brothers had gone bankrupt. Bear Stearns had vanished. AIG teetered on the edge of destruction. The global financial system faced its worst crisis since the Great Depression. And then the phone rang. On the other end, Goldman Sachs. They were desperate. They didn't just need money. They needed Buffett's name, his reputation, his credibility. Buffett answered with a single move. He wired $5 billion into Goldman Sachs, but the genius was in how he structured it. The deal gave him a 10% annual dividend, plus the right to buy Goldman stock at a fixed price of $115 per share. The announcement alone calmed markets. It was Buffett's stamp of approval that saved Goldman's reputation and stabilized Wall Street. By 2011, the deal had earned Berkshire $3.7 billion in profit, and Buffett wasn't finished. In 2011, he invested another $5 billion in Bank of America, gaining rights that eventually made him over $12 billion. In total, he turned the chaos of the financial crisis into over $15 billion in profit, while simultaneously saving America's biggest banks from collapse. It wasn't just about money, it was about influence. While governments scrambled, Buffett acted as a one-man Federal Reserve. His personal decision to place billions on the line signaled to the world that America's financial system could still be trusted. That's not just wealth. That's the ability to hold an entire economy steady with a single phone call. What ties Mukesh Ambani and Warren Buffett together? At first glance, they couldn't be more different. One is a showman in a billion-dollar tower. The other lives quietly in a suburban home. But both share the same instinct: to act boldly when everyone else is afraid. Ambani gave away internet for free when telecoms charged sky-high rates. Buffett poured money into banks when the world believed they were doomed. Both gambled when logic said to wait. And both rewrote the rules of capitalism in their favor. Ambani didn't just build a telecom company. He created a monopoly that India depends on. He became a power broker not only for consumers, but for politicians and global corporations alike. Buffett didn't just make investments, he became the backstop of American finance. When he invests, CEOs listen. When he speaks, markets move. His portfolio touches every corner of daily life, from the Apple phones in our pockets to the Coca-Cola we drink, and that's the lesson. These aren't just billionaires. They are architects of reality. They bend nations, industries, and governments around their decisions. So what do we learn from the billion-dollar deals that changed the world? That the difference between ordinary wealth and world-changing wealth isn't about luxury. It isn't about jets, mansions, or yachts. It's about timing, vision, and courage. Mukesh Ambani looked at India and saw 1 billion people waiting to be connected, and he became the gatekeeper of their digital lives. Warren Buffett looked at America's darkest hour and became the man who steadied the nation's economy with his own money. Both men proved a simple truth: the greatest fortunes are built by moving against the tide, by being right when everyone else is wrong. And that is why their billion-dollar deals didn't just make history, they reshaped the future. If you want more untold stories of how billionaires really move the world, make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Crown Syndicate. Because to understand who really runs the world is the first step to understanding how it actually works.